Hello, everybody. It's your girl CeleXy here from the Your Life Reimagined book series as well as the Heaven's Mind book series. I am the principal author and owner of CeleXy Design. Of course, the Your Life Reimagined book series was born out of the CeleXy Design parent company. So, what am I talking about today? I am talking about The Sinister's Wife. The Sinister's Wife was written or completed and published in February of 2019. Now, yes, that was 2 years ago, but because of the pandemic, I thought it's a great time for me to come back and bring this very still real issue back to the forefront. What I'm talking about is The Sinister's Wife, the gospel according to Mrs. Rochelle Miller Frazier. This book is based on a true story which occurred right here in the state of Indiana. The other reason I want to sort of reintroduce this book to the public is because it is going to be released as an Audible book. I know many people have been waiting for a while to get this on audio. And so the final touches are being made finally to get this book available to you on Audible. So be looking out for it. As soon as it becomes available, I will come back on the Sinister's Wife page on Facebook and make that public announcement. And then I will also do a go live on Facebook and YouTube to let you know that that Audible is now available, because I know many of you, especially the people who are closely related to this story, have been waiting for that book to become available on Audible. So I'm excited to finally be able to bring that to you. With that being said, there will be a follow up to The Sinister's Wife, the gospel according to Mrs. Rochelle Miller Frazier, because of everything that transpired as a result of releasing this book. Now, you might think that the part two follow up would be related to the actual characters of the book. Well, in a way, it is. It's related to one of the characters in the book who actually symbolized or was the avatar for me, for my role in the story. Um, Obviously, I'm the principal author of this book, and Rochelle allowed me to write her story or to bring her story to life. So this was something that we mutually agreed to collaborate on and bring the story to life. And in Rochelle's words, the her intention was that if sharing her story would allow even one woman, man, boy, or child to benefit, then she, felt it was worth it to share her story, as painful as it is. However, that is not the reason for the follow up to this book. The follow up I am calling The Sinister's Wife, The Aftermath, because as a result of this book, my life was forever changed as well. And without, I definitely want to give you a full perspective of what the book will be about. I definitely want you to have a full perspective of that so that you can be waiting on pins and needles to read it or to hear it, because it's going to be released via as soon as it's released in book format. The follow up Audible will be coming right after that, and it's going to be really wonderful. It's going to probably be like unlike any Audible book you've ever heard before, because I got uh, real footage, if you want to call it that. But the aftermath of this, The Sinister's Wife, The Aftermath, is really about how I was impacted as a result of agreeing to write this book. Now, initially, I will tell you that I was super excited, because the way that this book came into being is that after I had been out traveling and came back to Indiana for family reasons, for personal reasons, I decided that I would consider becoming somewhat of a ghostwriter, in which I would allow people to tell me their stories about their life or whatever story they wanted to share with the world. And I would reimagine those words or their concept, their perspective, their story in my own words. I would tell their story. Now, this process, the person who's writing, who the person who the story is about. So in this case, I'm gonna keep it simple and keep it to the sinister's wife. Rochelle had a story that she wanted to tell, and she herself was not capable of writing the story herself, and therefore needed a ghost writer, someone who would write the book with her. However, a ghost is someone that is not acknowledged for the information that's being shared or for the outcome, the product, the service that was provided. A ghostwriter is anonymous. Okay, in this situation, because it was her life reimagined through my eyes, the service that was agreed upon was not that of a ghostwriter, but we were somewhat, I allowed it to be co authors, if you want to call it that. However, I have always, been the principal author. I did all the writing. Rochelle shared her story with me, and then I interpreted that through my point of view and told her story as close to what I think she would have written it if she could have written it. Written it. Now, here's the thing. Here's the caveat. Maurice Frazier is the husband or the antagonist in this story. He was prosecuted for statutory rape. He had a sexual addiction, which included him sexually harassing women on the job, sexually harassing women in his personal life, and eventually sexually harassing and inappropriately engaging with a minor. This man was a sheriff in the state of Indiana as well as a youth pastor in a church here in Indianapolis. Now, I'm not telling you anything that is not news, if you want to call it, what is not old. You can find this story, Google Maurice Frazier, and you can find it on YouTube. You can find the transcripts from court hearings and everything. So I'm not telling you anything that's private information. What I am telling you is that the character of this man and the nature of his being was also something that I was subjected to. And we share that in the book at the very end. There is a break in the relationship between Rochelle and the character that I can't even remember her name, and I'm not going to look it up right now because I'm not sure what page it's on. But there's a character in the book who is my avatar, and we talk about the reason why there was this 20-year breakup in their friendship. Now, in real life, I believe, if I recall Rochelle's words correctly, she thought that I thought I was too good to be her friend after I became a registered nurse, and she thought that was the reason for our the breakup in our friendship. However, as I revealed to her prior to our embarking upon this project of writing her book, the real reason I had to end our friendship is because her husband, Maurice Frazier, was also inappropriate with me. And I'll elaborate on this in the book, but he had an opportunity to assault me during a moment of me being kind to them as a couple. And he took advantage of my kindness and sexually assaulted me. So that is something that I had carried with me for 20 years prior to writing that book. So being able to share with her the truth of why our friendship ended, and also to be able to help her get her story written and get me closure in the process was a win-win situation. And I felt that we could generate a whole lot of love in the form of money, in the form of abundance, in the form of prosperity. I felt like that her story had the makings of being a national bestseller. And that is what I was focusing my efforts on, writing the book in such a way that it was not only believable, but transformative and garnered attention on a national platform in the Black community, at least, at the very least. We're talking about Black pastors, Black ministers, Black male leaders. Now, don't get me wrong, this goes on in the other communities as well, the white community, but I am a Black woman, so I'm focusing on my personal experience. The Sinister's Wife, the aftermath, is based on my personal experience. So, yes, in this follow up to The Sinister's Wife, I'll be talking about my relationship, my involvement with this couple, and how my sexual assault occurred, how the book came into being, and what transpired after the book was written. There became a point where it was no much more about spreading love and helping someone. It became all about the money, the money. And when I tell you that I endured such hate and wrath from a family that I had been so generous with my gifts, talents, and abilities. You see, we embarked upon this project. Rochelle refused to sign the contract, although she did have a copy of the contract, and the initial terms of the contract were documented in multiple text messages between the two of us. So she was always well aware of the terms of the contract, even though she refused to sign the contract. Now, I had both a verbal agreement as well as her handwritten notes about various aspects of her story that she wanted included in the book. And as a result of her family members and friends getting in her ear about the money, basically them guesstimating or assuming how well the book was selling based upon the feedback that they were getting from people, there became an issue as to whether or not I was taking advantage of her and ripping her off. Now, mind you, the agreement was that she had to pay me no money up front, zero. Zero. She didn't have to give me any money up front. I shared my gift, talents, and abilities with her through meeting with her to assess and get the information for the story, to discover the direction that she wanted to go in, to come up with the designs, the marketing, everything. I met with her, and this was all free of charge. The only things that she paid for were her own her own copies of the book. She paid for the things to promote the book when I agreed to allow her do a separate book signing. Because I listed her as the co-author, even though she was just providing the information. But I gave her the title of co-author, and somehow that elevated her consciousness or elevated her involvement in the book. And that's okay. I wanted her to feel like she was as involved as I was. And so I successfully did that so well that it came back and backfired on me. What I'm getting at is that until recently, I didn't know that a lot of what I have been dealing with since writing this book has been what you could call post-traumatic stress syndrome. I I was being threatened by her family members. I was being threatened by her family members. I have been called everything but a child of God. In fact, from her mother, I have a recording of her calling me some things I've never even considered calling other people. Or maybe I have. But at any rate, because I know that I went into this project out of sincerity, out of a desire to get closure for myself, and out of a desire for Rochelle to be able to move on in her life as well, and to be able to achieve her objective of helping someone else, to be later villainized, vilified, whatever the word is, made out to be the villain, the enemy. It was so hurtful. It was so hurtful. It was so hurtful that I even lost two additional, well, I won't say lost them, but it even affected or impacted my relationship with two other friends. I was traumatized because I went into this out of love. And at the end, all I received was hate. But here we go. What I know from the mind of heaven, CeleXy knows that all things work together for the good of them who love God and who are called according to their purpose. I love the God in me, and I am called according to my purpose. And I shared my gifts. with the world by writing this book with this young lady. And I suffered the consequences of doing so. And now I also reap the benefits of being able to write a book about my experience writing a book. So stay tuned. The Sinister's Wife, available on Audible this summer 2021. And then be also looking for The Sinister's Wife, The Aftermath. Call it the gospel according to CeleXy. All right. Stick that in your cap and wait for me to get back to you on those actual delivery dates. It's coming for you this year, 2021. Stay tuned because I know y'all are on the edge of your seats wondering what in the hell CeleXy is going to say. And will it be all true? Or just like the original Sinister's Wife, will 70% of it be made up from the marvelous imagination of CeleXy's mind? Only time will tell. Stay tuned. This has been your girl CeleXy representing from the Your Life Reimagined book series and the Heaven's Minds book series under the parent company of yours truly, CeleXy Design. And guess what? I got so much more in store for you. This is only the beginning. If you thought 2019 was the end, oh baby, guess again. Because we're picking up where 2019 left off, but we're adding a twist, a spiral, and a whole lot of vibration. Because we're moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky for your